Check, Mike. All right. Good afternoon. It's September 22nd.
Damn, it's birthday season already.
Yeah, September 22nd, 2024. Welcome to BelloHeart. Back, I have a special guest today. Back after this. So, and we're back. So, welcome. I want to have a special guest today. He's a good friend of mine. Went to high school together. His name is Reverend Ferris. Mr. Ferris, would you like to introduce yourself?
Jamie, listen, thank you for having me here today. It's been a pleasure. It's a long time coming, too. First off, I'd like to say hello to everybody on the New Jersey Trump MAGA page. Thank you for paying attention. You guys have been great. Keep those posts coming. Remember, your voice is our weapon.
Thank you,
All right,
Mike.
keep it going, guys. Jamie's got something great going with that thing. It needs to grow and grow and grow, and we need the truth to come out, right? And we need to be vocal about it, but we need to have some fun with it too. And that page has been amazing that way, and I thank you for that. On another level, I owe you a thank you, right, Jamie? We've been friends for 35, almost 40 years now. We've known each other since middle school. Been almost since middle school.
Crazy.
I'm going to tell you something. This is very honest, and I want to be very honest with your audience. I want to be very honest with the people from the Trump, the MAGA page, and thank you for the trust you've put into me as an administrator. The events of 4 years ago made me so angry that I decided I was never going to vote in this country again. I was never coming to vote in this country again. I was done. I'm fed up in the whole nine. You've got me so fired up over the past couple months. I registered to vote the other day on top of everything else, right? Am I going to do it? Right now, I got to tell you, I'm quite sure I'm going to. I'm quite sure I'm going to, but now I have the option to make sure that I go there that day to do it. All right? So you have made that difference so far. Okay? Yes. You have made that difference, and thank you for that.
Well, thanks, Michael. That means a lot because honestly, that's why I started the MAGA. That's why I started BelloHeart. Honestly, this channel was started because last year, at some point, I realized that we're being lied to on a global scale. Media manipulation is insane, right? And
that's exactly what I was sick of.
Right.
I felt beaten down and didn't want to deal with it anymore, and now I want to fight it.
I never felt beaten down to the point. I guess because I just didn't get to that point. I feel it now. Honestly, I feel more beaten down now than I did last year because I feel like the media is so relentless that like when I turn on ABC or NBC or CNN and I see them just lie after lie after lie, and they don't even have there's no correction. Like nobody checks them, nobody holds them accountable. Nobody goes to jail.
There's no ramifications. Exactly.
Nobody apologizes. Nobody says, hey, oh, by the way, we said this 4 years ago, Russia collusion, but we made a mistake and it's been proven wrong now, so we're sorry. No one says anything. No one cares.
Do you remember years ago, like when we were growing up and you had like the New York Post and the New York Times, especially the New York Post? Do you remember like they would put something on a headline and it would be, they'd find out days later it was wrong and it was god awful. And then they put like the retraction on page 6.
Right, yeah, it was called the retraction.
We don't even get that anymore.
Apology or something.
We don't even get that anymore. Nothing. We've got every outlet for you to be like, I'm sorry, I was wrong.
It's just crazy. Like it's so frustrating because once you start researching, and for me, the journey started researching on my own. Like I watched a documentary on Acknowledged by Stephen Greer, and it goes through the government secrecy stuff, and it takes you through the black budget and how they're just wasting money, tons of money on something, and really the the cover up and all that, and like the government technology cover up of all the and where all the money's going, the black budget stuff and all that stuff. So. Then I started thinking about it, and then I started watching YouTube videos, and little by little, it starts to you start to think this little what the fuck's going on? Like something's going on. But I was working at UPS and living my life like a normal person, like most people in America, and you don't get that. You have a little bit of time to look into things, but you can't really fully invest. Right?
Of course not. And we also didn't have the resources at that point either.
Right.
And, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like we were slaves to the news outlets, whether it be CBS, NBC, or ABC, and God forbid that abortion known as CNN. You know what I mean?
Right. Right. So when I finally realized, once I started realizing that the media has been lying to us pretty much our whole lives, right? Since if you think about it, the media has been telling us there's documentaries out there, and actually a book I have right here called Chaos, and it's about the CIA, Charles Manson, the CIA, and the secret history of the '60s. Right? It talks about how Charles Manson was a CIA op, a psyop to stop the hippie movement for Vietnam, because that was causing a big issue to Vietnam.
Yes, that was look at the kickback that we had over that. It was awful. I mean, that was probably the first time in our history since the Civil War that we've been torn apart like that over like a country issue. Like, I mean, I can't think of anything that actually tore us apart. I mean, remember in the 50s and in the 60s, and you had the Cuban Missile Crisis and so on and so forth. You had a country together. It wasn't divided. It really wasn't until about that time frame that we were torn apart again.
But even like 9/11, like, right? So we weren't alive in the '60s, obviously. So we're '70s babies, 76, 75, right? Yeah. But my mom was alive. Your mom, we know about that time, obviously, from the generation before us. And the hippie movement was real, and it was a love movement, and it was an anti-establishment movement, right?
Of course, yeah.
And they used Charles Manson to basically make the hippie movement look so insane that it changed. Like when that happened, that changed everything. Like that whole country, like the hippie movement stopped instantly almost. And like so, they knew the power of the meat, like what they were able to do and it's a whole CIA psyop. And if you go put Project Mockingbird, right? You know Project Mockingbird is?
I'm not familiar.
So Project Mockingbird is a CIA op that had where when the CIA was established in the '50s, they made sure that they had people that work, CIA agents that work in every media outlet in America. So at one point there was, even now it's probably even more, at least 10% of every news media before the internet, before Google, not Google, before Rumble, before X, Freed, but up until that point, at least 10% of every media source was a CIA, operative. And it's called Project Mockingbird. Look it up. And then MK Ultra was another one.
You're gonna wonder about the special training that Mark Zuckerberg ever had, right?
Right. Right. So, and I think Facebook's a CIA app also. I think exactly. That whole collection, it's a whole collection apparatus of information, right? And they sell that data online. So, like, once you start to go down the rabbit hole and you start to realize that everything's fake, like, you could either just, I guess, go crazy and just not do nothing, or you could start a YouTube page, I guess, right? I mean, I started the YouTube page because I could have joined the military again. I'm 48. I have 2 kids. I'm married. I'm not just going to pick up and go across the country, across the world and start, shooting people. So, I mean, I could, I guess, but...
Hey, I'm a former 400-pound gentleman with a heart condition. I ain't carrying a gun over nobody's sand dune. Right now, the voice is all I've got.
Right. Exactly. So I figured I'm going to pick up, my gun is my mic at this point.
Yeah.
And I try to, I'm trying to spread truth through understanding, honestly. I mean, if you read, BelloHeart was started with the 3. One was truth through understanding, transparency on all levels of government, and truth above all else. That's like my mantra, dude. Truth is the all that matters. And we've been lied to. Once you realize the government's been lying to you just once, then you have to realize for how many more times they've been lying to us, and then for how long, right?
Let me ask you a question. Did get sidetracked?
Yeah.
Did you ever watch the show Judge Judy by any chance?
Of course.
Okay, that woman was Judith Scheindlin. Personally, is one of my absolute heroes, and I'll tell you why. She just put up with no shit from anybody. I said shit. And I'm going to say it again.
Fuck.
Right?
Shit. Asshole.
All right. Because like the things that she did, she didn't put up with any crap from anybody. But one of the greatest lines that you'd ever hear from somebody like Judith Scheindlin was, "Lie to me once, and I'll never trust you again." Right? So now, if we're proving all these lies now, okay, and we're seeing this, right? Why are you going to have a press conference or anything like this along any lines? You're going to promise me something, and I'm supposed to believe it. Okay, on no level is that going to happen. And the truth is, we've all known this for years. But now we have more, every one of us has more of an outlet, more of an opportunity to speak up and be out there. And that's exactly what you need to do. Bruce Springsteen's not the only person with a microphone, people. Speak up and be out there. Get that truth out there.
Well, people that are starting to wake up, Bongino, I don't know if you watch Dan Bongino on Rumble, but he's a big guy who,
he's fantastic.
Who talks, he's a big on the truth and raising awareness, and he brings receipts, as he says. And he, you just have to, you got to do your part. Like, we all got to do our part. We got to get, as Americans, we got to get the truth out there. People coming, we got to get people to vote. and we got to inspire people to, to believe in America again. I think a lot of people are beat down, just like you said yourself was. And we got to get the word out there, man.
Well, I mean, Jamie, do you know what my mantra, like my personal mantra was up until about 2 months ago before we reconnected, and you showed me all this kind of stuff?
Fuck the government? No.
No, not exactly.
1 second.
After these,
all right.
So basically, my mantra up until recently, like I said, you opened my eyes to a lot of things and realized that I need to be a lot more active in things, and I'm going to take a lot of pride in that. And hopefully, no matter how things turn out after November 5th, that we can continue to do something like this. But my mantra, honest to God, up until about 60 days ago, was, you got a two-party system. One party steals elections, the other one is too stupid to stop them. Right? If you understood the level of beaten down that makes you have to be. I come from a long line of military family, on every branch you can imagine. Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines. What a great place. It's a great place to start. I swear to God, like my whole family, we're military, police, all this kind of stuff. If you go back to even some of my Facebooks and my Facebook posts and tweets and all this kind of stuff over the years, they were always very political. Always felt like I needed to be involved one way or another. And after the events of 2 years ago, and this is actually something I'd really like to touch on because I'd love to tell you about this. It'd be a great thing for the audience to hear. I was so beaten down. It was just, you know what? We have a two-party system, right? And you have one that steals elections, and the other side that was too stupid to stop them.
Well,
or unprepared to stop them.
So now
is maybe a better way to say.
Well, I agree with you, and the frustration that politics puts in people, it makes you. It forces you not to pay attention almost because it's going to stress you out to no end because it seems like there's no point. Like the people that you vote for don't actually do anything for the people. They don't actually do anything that people want. So you just have these people, winning these popularity contests for no reason, right? And I agree with you. I understand that. The problem is that I think that this election specifically and at this moment in time we're at right now is a unique time where we have a chance to change to bring down the whole system.
As long as it's fair, absolutely.
And rebuild it. I'm not saying to blow up the country, just for the record. I'm not inciting violence. But what I'm saying is, I'm a God-fearing man. I believe in, in the values of human life.
I hope so. You're sitting next to a minister.
But I still question that. But
anyway, brother.
I want to see the license.
Off the internet, people.
I want to see the license. He can marry you. You can marry people.
I can bury you too.
And he can bury you.
I can marry you. I can bury you. I can christen you. I just the only thing I cannot do is counsel you. I can be an ear.
You can counsel me.
I will listen to anything you have to say. But I will never be the one to give you professional advice on something because that I am not qualified for.
Oh, who is then? Who is officially qualified to give professional advice?
Well, you got people running the country that have no idea how to give advice. Maybe I should.
What does that mean?
Maybe I should.
What are we doing here? I'm giving advice to somebody here. I don't know if they're listening to me, but whatever. We're trying to spread the truth, man. The world's, the country's in trouble, and we're just trying to wake people up. There's no need to be upset. We're at that moment in time where it's time to. Where we can make a difference. Where I think that Trump represents the truth, like the government.
Has he been wrong yet?
No, he hasn't been wrong.
Do you realize like everything that everybody says, like, oh, he's an extremist, he's this, that, the other thing. I mean, even looking at the debate a couple of weeks ago. I mean, let's if you don't mind, if I can touch on this. I mean, do you remember when he brought up the animal eating thing in Springfield, Ohio? And then the first thing Kamala did was do that disgusting Indian cackle that she has, and just like completely dismissed him. And what was interesting to me about that was weren't part of the rules of that debate that when you're not speaking, your mic was going to be shut off, and her mic wasn't shut off.
Of course not.
So I mean, we don't really have to go into like this big giant conspiracy theory type of thing, but these are just basic rules of the thing that just didn't work out. Okay. My question about that was, it sounds like a ridiculous story, doesn't it? I mean, it sounds absolutely obnoxiously ridiculous. Okay, but the funny thing was, like, 48 hours prior to this debate, this was a story that we'd all seen. We'd all seen that woman who was, like, probably high on meth or anything, right? And the police body cams and the people showing up saying, she just murdered that cat. She was eating that cat, right? It was a credible story. Did it need to be brought to that level during the debate? I don't know, because I don't know the extent of the damage that, you know, the illegals in Springfield, Ohio were a part of. Okay, but it was an absolutely credible story. My question to you is, how did somebody like Brian Muir fact check that in seconds after him bringing it up? If it wasn't a credible story, why was it on ABC's radar to start off with? That's what I'd like.
That's a fantastic question. And,
you know,
there's no way for me to know what Brian Muir was doing, except for Trump was right all along. As we know.
Yeah, we all tend to know that. We all tend to know
all
that,
along,
people.
Right? So yeah. So during the debate, he was obviously fighting 3-on-1, and the Springfield thing is very serious. So people shouldn't be taking it lightly.
No, I don't.
I know you're not making light of it. I'm just saying that, which is the part of this, which is the reason why I'm making this podcast in the first place. Right? Is the mainstream media, and just for the record, the legacy media. I include Fox News in that as well. For now,
what a shame.
ABC, NBC, right? CBS, MSNBC, CNN, all the mainstream newspapers, magazines, Google, Amazon.
Just show me one that doesn't have an agenda, and that's the one I want to listen to.
The only two that I trust,
you know what I mean?
That I even trust, and it's not that I trust them, because X is just an information gathering apparatus. It's not really. Nobody's telling you anything on X.
You know, I got so nasty on X. I actually got banned from Elon Musk last week. Very true.
That's interesting. But really follow me on X at BelloHeart222 for the record. Yeah. Anyway, so X is a way to get information. You can get both sides without any. You could also there's news places called like the Ground News. Ground News is a news site you have to pay for that has all the news on all sides, and it actually rates if it's on the left, right, center, and all that stuff.
Yes, you sent that to me a couple of weeks ago.
Yes.
That was really amazing. That really was. It was nice to see.
But like for the Springfield, Ohio thing, like the mainstream, they made fun of him at the debate. But you get J.D. Vance, who's his running mate, who's the senator from Ohio, right? Who his constituents, who are Ohioans, for the record, we were talking about Ohio recently. OHIO. I'm not from Ohio, but I know that's the line.
That's for you, Morgan. I hope you're paying attention.
But so his constituents are calling up and saying, "Hey, the local geese population is dwindling, or the local duck population is dwindling." And my neighbor's cat's missing, and I think I saw somebody take it to. And now if you go on X right now, anytime you want, you could type in Springfield, Ohio, pet, eating or pet anything, and you'll find dogs on spigots and just disgusting things. We're both animal people, and I'm not trying to make people sick, but it's very serious and it's very true. But what makes me sick is that you get like David Muir fact-checking Donald Trump instantaneously when you go on X at the same moment, and I can pull up pictures of people's pets being roasted.
But that's exactly my point, is the fact that like it was a credible story prior. It has become something that what bothers me is people putting out memes, AI, things like this, and you can change the way a picture looks on a level or something like this, and you alter the truth. Okay, it was a credible story before he brought it up. Okay, if it wasn't, why would they have even thought to fact check that? Contact the chief of police in Springfield, Ohio, to find out, well, there's no credible thing, right? Why would you have done that if it wasn't a credible story in the first place?
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
City manager.
So cut your crap.
It was the city manager. So
it wasn't the city manager.
The city manager.
Well, I take that back. That guy is chief of police.
And supposedly he's getting paid. Another story came out on X that he's getting paid a ton of money for all the people being put up in hotels, and how there's actually a whole big scam where the landlords are actually telling people to move out temporarily for maintenance, and then while they're gone, they're renting the apartment to like 5 families of Haitians, and they're charging them like triple the amount instead of 5 times the amount. So it's like a bargain, and they're kicking the Americans out. Like this is all happening in Springfield right now, and not just Springfield. It's happening in other swing states. Pennsylvania is definitely one of them, and I know there's other states that have had Haitians moved in.
And let's not think we're like demeaning Haitian.
No, I don't think Haitian people.
You want to come to this country for a better life, God bless you. We have laws, we have rules. We're not living by yours. Okay? So stop with your bullshit too.
Well, think about it though, but when you take people from a place that's different, no matter what it is, if you take 20,000 people and bring them to a place where there's only 40,000 other people, there's going to be a mesh of cultures. Now, if the cultures are not similar and they don't have similar values, that's essentially war, right? What is war? War is combining of cultures that aren't ready to, that don't want to assimilate, right?
Exactly.
So you're basically forcing two cultures of people that don't have don't know shit about each other to get along and be fine. Which in America, because we're good people, we can adapt and we don't attack people for being different. However, the Haitians are not used to our ways necessarily, so they in Haiti hunting geese is okay, hunting the ducks is fine. You know, hunting people's animals, I guess, is okay. I don't know.
And if you actually follow that line of logic, Michael Vick and dog fighting were okay also. Okay, all right, Jamie, you were a Marine, always a Marine, once a Marine, always a Marine.
Number 5.
Okay, so you traveled the world. You defended our country, and you traveled the world. Okay, so I'm gonna have to kind of like take you out of this equation, because when you did travel the world, you traveled by representing the country, defending the country.
Absolutely.
Okay. Have you ever been to like Canada drunk on a bet, by any chance? Because I have plenty of times. Like I spent more time in Montreal than I can tell you. Do you think I ever went up to Montreal, disparaged their country, and told them how they should do things, even as a visitor?
No.
Right? So if you're going to come and be a resident in my country, you better understand what my country is about. I don't think that the people of Canada, and like I said, just an example because they're right there, people, right? I don't expect to go over there and push my democratic views on them as a socialist country, and they are a socialist country. You know, socialist.
Don't tell them no.
Okay, no, they are, and they know this, and they, but their level of democracy is a different level than our democracy. It's not up to me to push it on them, and it's not their right to push it on me. Who the hell are the Haitians or anybody else, that's gonna invade our border to tell us how we're supposed to do things?
I agree. Now listen, there's 2 parts of me that look at this from, and I'm a Marine, of course, and defending America is super important to me, and defending my family, I'll die.
Well, obviously, it's one of the reasons why you're here.
Right, but the other part is these people are being used as political fodder in a political war between the left and the right, right?
Very true. Very true.
And it's not fair. And I'm not saying we should not deport them, because we have to deport them because we just can't sustain this as a country. The problem is that there's an ulterior motive for these people to be here. There's not, yes, voting and moving the to swing states to move towards the left or whatever, the voter registration stuff, but there's something else sinister going on. You don't just move in, because it's not just the Haitians, it's also the rest of the illegals coming across the southern border, right? So there's from what I've heard, between 15, I've heard as low as 8 million, I've heard as high as 21 million.
All right.
And 21 million people, that's a shit ton of people, dude. And mixed in there is criminals, and I'm not saying they're all bad. Don't take this wrong way. I mean,
isn't it interesting that you can use illegal immigrants to vote instead of dead people?
That's what I'm saying, right? But so
the cemeteries are dried up, Democrats.
Yeah, but so they're using not just the voting. There's another sinister plan for them as well, and a lot of them are young, middle-aged men without families that are coming in groups, which are army, military-aged people who know how to fight, right? And why are they here? I mean, what's the reason? Voting is part of it, but that's not just the only thing. I don't want to hear it.
And unfortunately, like even 2 people like us that are, I would consider relatively educated and been around the world a little bit and seen what's going on, it's a shame, because anything that we say would be speculation at this point. Eventually, the real truth will come out.
Although you're a Bears fan in New Jersey, that's the first problem.
Well, that's not the first problem. I got plenty of problems. That is, Caleb Williams, you suck. If anybody watched that abortion today against the Indianapolis Colts, another winless team, yeah. Well, I digress. Let's get back to the topic.
Obviously we're watching sports tonight,
Well, your Giants won.
Yeah, well, for the first time this year,
they beat the Browns. Sports talk radio won't be so bad in the area.
Speaking of Ohio, we just talked about Ohio a lot today. They beat the Browns in Ohio.
Yep.
Which is
Morgan. Hi.
And I was just talking to my boy Dan in Ohio, who's also a Marine.
Yes.
Just having a lot of Ohio talk today, which.
And by the way, for anybody that's paying like I'm a huge Penn State fan. All you Buckeyes, like Buckeye fans, go to hell. Stop ruining my birthday every year.
I'm not upset with the Buckeyes.
I am, because I want my Penn State Lions to be relevant again, or what's the word? Fuck it, go ahead.
Be good. But New Jersey, we don't care about college football. So I don't know about except for Rutgers.
You're not a Rutgers fan?
No, I'm not a Rutgers fan.
Nappy-headed hose.
So we have like 49. Oh, hi, Bodie. That's my dog. We have 49 professional teams in this area. You know, we don't need any college teams.
As long as we have the Devils, we're fine.
I mean the Rangers, but that's okay.
I mean the Devils.
We could argue about that next time, my friend. So one thing
You can tell we've known each other for 40 years.
So we actually went to high school during the Rangers Devils 1994 was the year we graduated. When they
Greatest series. Like I hated how it turned out, but I got to be honest with you, to this day, I can tell you it was the greatest series of hockey I've ever seen in my life.
The whole experience.
I just hated how it turned out.
Of course, obviously, I understand, but I mean, it was just an amazing experience. Just between the.
Well, what's something is that was the year that we graduated high school. So the next year when I won it, I couldn't rub it in your eyes.
Right. You know? Yeah, and then we did win, and we all disappeared. I went to the Marine Corps. Everybody did their own thing.
Yeah, and I was still up there in Section 217 at the Meadowlands screaming, "Where the fuck are my friends?"
But still a diehard Devils fan to this day. But since then, I think the Devils have had a much better run than the Rangers.
Oh, no doubt about it. But you know what? We've also, I mean, not to get like completely politically off topic. I mean, I'd like this to be a fun show, also, if you don't mind.
Of course.
But the Devils have had considerably more overall success. But both teams have been. They've had their major droughts during that time too.
Sure.
And I got to be honest with you, what's excellent about living in this area right now is both teams are projected to be very good again this year, and the rivalry's back, and it's fun. And as an older man, I don't want to go to the Rock and fight. I want to have fun, people. Like I want to argue. Like I want to sit here and argue about the game, but I want to have a drink with you and enjoy it.
Yeah, but
years ago that wasn't the case anymore.
Well, we could do that, but I mean, you around other Devils, around other Ranger fans might be a problem.
But that's why I don't go.
That's why I don't go. Reverend Ferris lets his Reverend go at the Devils games. The Reverend disappears.
I think sometimes I try to use that to get myself out of a lot of crap.
I'm a Reverend. I didn't mean to beat your face into a pulp. Yeah. I'm sorry. Let me bless your body. Bless you, Rev. Bless you.
Father,
as you're bleeding out. You're bleeding out.
And then I root for the Diablos, right?
Exactly. Yes. That's a good point there, Reverend. You are Devils. That's there's something wrong with that. We got to talk about that one of these days.
But I'm also like a minister with the logo of my church tattooed on me. And if you look in Leviticus, it actually tells you you should not have markings on your tattoos, so on and so forth. It's just north of the Bible, about north of not. Well, we won't get into that, right? But at the same time, you're talking about a reverend who's got like 80 serial killers tattooed all over him as well.
Yeah, you are a conundrum, Michael. I must say.
But that's
you have a very interesting demeanor, because you, on one hand, you're an amazing person. You care about animals. You're good people. You take care of people that take care of you. And on the other hand, you want to smash people that disagree with you. Smash their heads in at certain points, depending on who they are. But I guess that's
it's a work in progress. There's only one perfect being ever to walk this planet, and we all know who is that.
It wasn't me.
He was Jesus Christ. Okay, I'm a work in progress. You know what I mean? I became a Christian because I'm trying to figure things out and I'm trying to get better.
God bless.
So
all you can do, brother, is just keep improving.
If I have the opportunity to be able to speak the word to people, like to get on an honest level here, to speak the word to people. It doesn't matter whether it comes from Joel Osteen, you, the dog. It doesn't matter. If you have the opportunity to speak the word and make somebody's life a little bit better, I don't see the problem in that.
100%. Amen. Listen, we could. The other reason I started this channel is just to spread love. I think truth is love, personally. I think telling people the truth is the ultimate form of love, because
agreed. Definitely agreed.
Because
spreading lies doesn't do any good for anybody.
It just hurt. It just keeps people in their own cycle of whatever. I'd rather not talk. For the record, I don't just go around telling people shit about themselves. First of all, I'm not a psychic. I don't know stuff about them. What I'm saying, I'd rather be honest with people than just perpetuate bullshit with them.
Of course.
You know what I'm saying? And so that's just not my.
I mean, seriously, like we hadn't seen each other in 30 years for the most part. Had that been your agenda, I wouldn't be sitting here. Well, like we wouldn't have we would have been friends. We could have talked on the phone, not on the level we are now.
For sure. No, right? Obviously we definitely don't bullshit for sure. Now, one thing you did bring up before, which I want to talk back to, is Judge Judy. Right? You said that Judge Judy. You should have said it when she lied to me once.
That woman, I love that woman.
You lied to me once, and I do love Judge Judy, for the record. Mm-hmm. She's a conservative.
One of very few people that scares the shit out of me in life.
Have you met her?
No, I haven't. But one of my favorite moments about her, if you've ever seen her on, it was on, I think it was the Jay Leno show, and they had, oh goodness, what is the guy that said he was going to drink tiger piss? what is his name?
Oh, Charlie Sheen.
Charlie Sheen.
Yeah.
And he's up there, and everybody knows Charlie Sheen's background. God bless him. I love him. He's one of the greatest actors we've had.
2.5 Men.
And some of the funniest stuff you've ever seen. And Judah Scheinling comes in as the second guest and sits down next to him, and the fear in this man's face. Oh, guys, go on YouTube and find this. The fear. I don't know whether he was acting. If he was acting, it just goes to show how great his skills were. But I got to tell you, some of the funniest crap I've ever seen in my life. And she ate every minute up. She ate every minute up.
Hey, she's earned it, man.
Yeah,
she's earned it
every minute.
So one thing you did talk about is that's how when people lie to you. You should question everything they say going forward, right? Or at least everything. And if they're happen to be the media, you should question everything that they have said.
Yes.
In the past, right? Once you know that they're lying, you have to question everything. That's just the way it is. If you have a family member that lies to you. If it's a white lie, you might let them get away with it. But if they keep lying, eventually you're going to tell them to go fuck themselves, right?
Of course.
So lefties, liberals, Democrats, I'm a former Democrat, believe it or not. Whatever they are. We're trying to change people's minds and hearts here.
Yes,
and
heart mainly. Yes.
Calling them, I mean, listen, I was a lefty loser at one point.
No, hold on. I got to stop you there for a second, okay? Because just because you're a leftist doesn't make you a loser, okay? Well, in my eyes, it does. Okay, but I'm gonna try to play. He's gonna try
to dig himself out of this hole.
No, I'm gonna try to play the right role here. Listen, a couple of years ago, that's the way you felt. That's what you thought, and that's exactly why we are in a democracy. This is exactly what we're supposed to be. This is what you felt like a couple of years ago. Your eyes opened up, and you opened up on a different level. It doesn't mean that the next person down the street's not gonna open up and look the other direction. That's why we are a democracy. Yes. Your opinion is everything. That's why our vote is supposed to matter.
Thank you, Reverend, and I appreciate that. And that's honestly why I started this whole thing, is because I figured if I could change my mind just by getting information from what I've learned, then if some other people can hear the same information, maybe they'll change their minds. Mm-hmm. And the problem is that I've also learned that some people aren't as receptive to new information. You know what I mean? For instance,
they've been beaten into a level.
But once you've known you've been lied to over and over and over again, and that's the problem. Do they know they've been lied to, and do they care, or is it just because it's not Trump? That's the whole other thing, right?
Oh, we're gonna get into TDS, aren't we?
Well, I don't know if we have time. We're already 30 minutes in, so.
Right. So it's your longest self podcast so far, huh?
Well, I've done an hour. Last night I was on another podcast.
Last night, by the way, look it up, guys. New Jersey, MAGA Trump. Look it up. Hell of a podcast last night with what was that podcast called again?
Locked and Loaded, 100%. It's a guy named Justin. He is from Washington.
Great job.
We had some conversation about the same type of stuff. The truth and the media manipulation. Ohio,
and the man's from across the country, so don't think this is local New Jersey people, right? Spread it out there, even New Jersey MAGA people from our page. Spread this out to people. Ask them to be a part of this page. It doesn't need to be localized in New Jersey, does it?
No, I have people from.
It had to start that way. It doesn't have to finish that way.
From Carolinas in my page. I have friends from Ohio in the page. I have people from California in the page. I have people from all over the place in the page. I don't care. It's not even about. It's not. MAGA is a movement across America, dude. Make America. That's the other thing. Make America great again. I know that they've coined this as a cult, but it's not really about. It's America, dude. America. We're making. We all live in America, don't we? That's why people like MAGA is a cult. You're American, are you not? We're trying to make America great for you too, dude.
Yeah.
Not just for me, not just for Mike, not just for Trump and his people.
It's funny. Have you seen the new Camilla ads? I want to be a president for everybody. Where the hell have you been? I mean, seriously, where the hell have you been?
Years.
You've been a vice president for nobody. And also, if I'm not mistaken, as far as your polls, love that boy.
Hey, look, I'm sorry, my dog's giving he's giving a cameo.
I want a mic.
Into the mic. You want to speak, Brody? Say hi.
That's not a bone. I'm Addy.
He's a good boy.
His
name's Brody.
If you see these ads, you want to be the president for everybody. Well, listen, great thing to hear, but actions do speak louder than words, correct? 100%. And if I'm not mistaken, over the past 3.5 years, she was actually one of the more negatively viewed Democratic or high-ranking officials in our country. It wasn't until 61 days ago that anybody ever gave a crap about this woman.
Right. You're right.
Okay? Her own party pushed her out 4 years ago.
Oh, Bodie's.
See, I'm catching a nerve.
Bodie's pissed off about Kamala. I understand. She makes me upset too, Bodie. Kamala pisses me off. I didn't hit the pause yet, so that's all on camera still.
But pause or pause?
Pause or pause? Go on, Michael. Michael's thinking.
I'm just an animal
His
lover.
brain's working. So yeah, Bodie's barking, and no, but see, so the whole Kamala switcheroo, the whole coup with Joe is like, I mean, there's so many things that are sickening to me that I don't understand. Nobody cares, and it just go back to TDS, right? So why did nobody on the left care that Kamala stepped in as the nominee without nobody giving her one vote? How come nobody cared?
Okay, I wish I had an answer to that, because I've had more conversations and attempted conversations with people about, like, I can't even sugarcoat this. Okay, you have a left area with a guy running for VP that gives out tampons to men, okay, and then has the nerve to call our ticket weird. Okay, you also have a group of people that say that, like, the person that we're leaning towards, the person that we want to be 45 and 47, by the way, is a threat to our democracy. Isn't our democracy about votes? Isn't it about votes?
That's what I thought.
So over the past couple of years, since people have thrown their hat in the ring to be candidates to be president, whether it be on the Republican side and not so much on the Democratic side, because if you remember, there was nobody running against Joe Biden. Nobody. Because you were being fed a load of shit that this man was competent enough to run.
Right.
Okay? So now he gets on a national stage and gets completely embarrassed. It's all something we thinking Americans saw coming a long time ago. Okay? Then they realized, oh my good God, we can't do anything about this. He's going to be our president again. Okay? He gets forced to step down. What, do you think that was his own volition?
No.
Or whatever the word
3
is.
days before he...
Okay. Right? It was not. Okay? So now you stick somebody else in that spot and claim that he got her delegates for stepping down. The man spent the last 2 years telling you he wasn't going to step down.
He actually said it 3 days before that. I think he said in an interview, he said the only person is the Almighty himself could come down and actually tell me I'm not going to run.
Right.
And then 3 days later, there was a Twitter. Now this is even more ironic. The left. How sick is that? That out of all the media outlets that he decided to resign his candidacy, he chose Twitter.
Right.
Out of all of them. Think about that.
That is hysterical. Because it was about the only one that would have listened to him at that point.
But think about it. So why? Right. Because why did they put it on CNN, ABC, NBC? Because they were like, who gives a shit? No,
because it would have been giant eggs.
We
never
would have seen it. Because we never would have seen it, right? Because we don't pay attention.
That's another good point. They didn't even think about that.
Right.
Yeah.
So they put it on Twitter so that everybody sees it, I guess.
Yeah.
So they're admitting, just by that act alone, is that Twitter is the only true stream of information. Just by that behavior.
Or it's the only one that's going to reach us because we've all
going to reach both sides.
Because we've all been smart enough to walk away from the other bullshit.
So they know. Little things like that. And the fact that then he didn't endorse her in his letter, and then he did endorse the whole thing makes you sick. So the point I was trying to make before about the lies is that...
Remembered if he did?
I don't think he knows where he is right now, so it doesn't really matter. I don't even know if he's alive, honestly. Who the hell knows what's happening with him? Who cares? He's pointless. I think he's...
It's funny. He's the only one that can duck an interview better than Kamala.
Maybe. She's pretty good, though, man.
She's good at ducking that crap.
He talks like I've never seen anybody continue with bullshit. Oh, I heard it this in a podcast that she's like trying, like people, like college kids trying to fill out a term paper to the word limit. Like they just keep adding words. Like,
very.
They just keep putting words that make the same word.
Yeah.
Means 75 different things over and over. That's all she does really when she talks, right? She's ridiculous. I come from a middle class family. Okay, yeah, you're middle class. It's the whole thing makes me sick. Yeah. And how they just picked her up and dumped her on us, and we're supposed to believe that she's God Almighty.
But my point being is like democracy is about votes. It's about the choice of the people. Okay, now you might not like Donald Trump. You might think that Kamala Harris is the answer. You might think that Kamala Harris is the answer. And listen, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that she's not. Okay, I mean, I guess to a point you'd have to be like, the time would have to come to see it.
She's not.
I don't agree with that. Okay.
She's not.
But it is up to us as Americans to figure that out. Correct.
She's not.
Okay. Agreed.
Yeah, I agree. We should be able to figure it out.
There's a process to get to the point that she's at, and she did not go through that.
You're 100% right. And I'm not trying to be, I'm just being a wise ass when I'm saying that. But, and I know you don't think that, obviously.
No, of course I don't. But I'm like, but if the process brought us there, okay, at least I can accept it.
But if she was a real
But she's
person,
forced
if she was
upon
a
you.
real candidate and she truly cared about American people and what they believed and what their choices were, she would have came out. They would have 2 years ago would have said Joe's not going to run. Kamala's gonna run in the primary with all the other primary candidates, and they would have had a legitimate primary. She would have, if she was a real person and actually had opinions and policies. And,
I wouldn't like it, but I could accept
and
it.
values. And I'm okay. At least they did it the right way. Fine. I'll be like, all right, she won fair and square. She's the president. But they just installed her like a toilet, dude.
That's interesting. How you refer to it as a toilet.
But they did. They installed it like a toilet. I mean, I've seen that meme. I can't take credit for it. I've seen that meme on Twitter like a thousand
I actually
times.
haven't, so that made me feel.
I've seen some really bad ones. But they did. They installed it like a toilet. I mean, they just shoved her on everybody, and because they were, and they're planning on the left, on the deep state, whoever's orchestrated, the puppet masters, whoever's behind this whole plan they're amazing. Honestly, you got to give them credit. I mean, they held her off because past the primary because they knew she wouldn't get a vote, right? Mm-hmm. Joe actually thought he actually was going to run. Maybe I mean
they played him like a puppet.
They made him.
I would almost feel bad if that guy wasn't such.
And the only thing I feel bad for is that they used the old white dude and they all hate white people. I don't care what anybody says. So Obama is part of that whole group, right? They don't like white people, and I think that they purposely used the white guy to push their agenda forward. And honestly,
makes you feel kind of warm and fuzzy inside, doesn't it?
I don't know. I think it's kind of messed up, and I hate, and I'm not,
sarcasm, buddy.
No, I know it's sarcasm, but it's disgusting, really, when you think about it. And
of course it is.
Like,
you're using this guy in like the end ages of life. We're not talking about a good person to start off with, because I can show you videos from the '70s when he was like verbally racist and like talking about separation and I actually don't even want to get into some of this stuff, but you can look it up on YouTube. Look up some of this man's stuff from like the '70s. And then the fact that you have you think that this was the guy that was supposed to help the Black and Latino community and stuff like this, you really should have paid attention more. Not that I believe the 81 million votes in the first place.
No,
but they took a man in the end stages of life and exploited an illness and an ailment that all too many Americans are going through, my mother included. Okay, and literally exploited them to put somebody in place instead of electing somebody in place.
Right.
And it's disgusting. It's disgusting.
100%. And as Vivek says, his dementia is not a problem. It's actually a benefit for them. Like they
turned it into that. Yes.
They used his ego because of course he's like, oh, I'll be president. Yeah, sure, I'll be president. But he was already declining. So they use his dementia and they use his ego to, of course, I want to run. And they use his whatever, his Biden, his whiteness, whatever you want to call it, his white privilege, whatever you want to call those words nowadays.
Those threw me. Oh, they might as well rug your nails on a chalk.
Whatever you want to call those words. To the left, that means something. To me, it means nothing.
No, it means nothing.
Because I grew up as a poor white man in Brooklyn on welfare. So as far as white privilege is concerned, I've never had it. I don't know what it's about. I mean, maybe it's something that I haven't seen yet. I haven't got there yet. I don't know. Maybe I'll get it when I get older.
I'm hoping it's part of Social Security.
If someone has it,
they take the money away from me. I hope they get the privilege.
You can have mine. I'll give you mine. You give me yours. We trade ours.
Yeah.
So it means nothing.
No.
So what was I saying? I forgot. Sidetracked. When we got into race, I got a little messed up.
Yeah, that's always going to be the sidetrack.
So what was I talking about? I forget. Should we wrap this thing up?
If you don't mind, I would actually like to introduce a potential segment.
Yeah.
If you don't mind, on days where if Jamie allows me to come back.
Of course I allow.
All right. I would like to refer to this as Reverend Ferris's "fuck you" moment of the day.
Sounds good.
Okay. It is not necessarily going to be political. It's just like my "fuck you" moment of the day. It could be about anything. So right now, I am going to vent on the New Jersey Educational Association, the union that is supposed to control the members and the employees of where I work. I am a school board employee. The town and the region does not need to be spoken about because, truth be told, I have never been happier at a position in my life, and I will never get an opportunity to tarnish that in my retirement years here. I love the people I work with. The woman I work for, the office, and the district are just amazing. Okay, but I'd like to actually get into that union really quick, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Okay, Jersey Educational Association. Before I get into my issue with the New Jersey Educational Association, I'd like to ask you a couple things. We grew up in the same district in Middletown. That I have no problem talking about.
That's true.
All right, in Middletown. Don't you remember every 2 years the teachers would be fighting for a contract? Like every 2 years it would happen. And it was brought into our classrooms constantly about, the fact that, but they couldn't go on strike. Remember, they were not allowed to go on strike as educational workers. They were not allowed to go on strike. But we're all very aware of the fact that they always signed 2-year deals. Okay, and every 2 years we knew we were going to hear about this.
It was about like what had to do with like testing, right?
Well, I mean, there was the testing and all that kind of stuff.
They weren't like tenure, though, right?
Like it was tenure. It was the fact that the state wanted to take away their free medical benefits for being state and teacher employees and so on and so forth. But my point is, every 2 years it was brought into the classroom. Okay, and the kids, come on. And we as kids should never have been subject to that.
No.
Okay, and then we're gonna fast forward a number of years. Now we've graduated high school. We're out for about 10 years. Okay, and the Middletown teachers decided to actually strike. Do you remember this? Do you remember that each teacher, brand new teachers like young women, okay, and young men that had literally just started their families, would stand in front of a judge in Monmouth County, okay, and say, "Are you going to cross the picket line?" They said, "No," and they would be locked up.
Wow.
Okay? Look back on this, and now you're going to come up to your union president at the time, Diane Swaim, at the time. They come up to her. She says, "I'll cross the picket line," right? And the strike ends, and everybody gets released from prison. So the person that was supposed to lead you, Diane Swaim, crossed the line when she allowed the people underneath her to be locked up. So now I want to come to my union, my specific area. I'm a bus driver. Okay, I'm very proud of that because it's a retirement job. I get to be a part of the district, and I'm very happy with it. I love driving big things, and I love the people I work with. I love my kids. I love the sports. I support it all. For the past 2.5 years, we've worked without a contract because my union was so goddamn weak that they never went to the table or forced the people to the table. Okay?
Mike, are you gonna get fired for this?
I'm not talking about the not talking about the district.
Yeah, I know that.
And I've also talked very well about the district.
You've had a disclaimer.
So ultimately that contract was settled about 2 some odd months ago, and there's retro pay that we're still waiting for this retro pay. Okay? It was retro pay, a fight over 2 cents that actually pushed it back more than 30 days. We're talking about an educational association, and you made a screw up of 2 cents. And now you're holding people like myself back from a retro pay of thousands of dollars from the past 2.5 years. These are things that we need to survive. Okay? But, right, so we're still waiting, and we're told that the 30th it's supposed to come in. I confronted my union rep, okay? Who I am, by the way, not in the union, very proudly not in that union. I was a union steward at 19 years old. I am very pro-union, just not this one. So when
what's the union for record?
New Jersey Educational Association.
Thank you.
Okay. When I confronted our newly elected, I'm going to say appointed, sound familiar? Union president, his answer to me was, "You're not in the union. I can't talk about the contract with you." Okay? Even though once that contract was signed, I am a part of that contract. So basically what he told me was, your future is none of your business. So people, my ultimate Reverend Ferris fuck you of the day, the New Jersey Educational Association, this is who they decided to stand behind. An educational association that's supposed to teach the basis of what this country is about. Elections, choices. They forced, let's just call him Sandy. His name is Randy. All right. They forced him on our union, on the people in my union. They're forcing this on you. And these are supposed to be the people that are educating your children. Stand up and fight.
Thank you, Michael. I agree with you. The New Jersey Union the teachers union is fully left supporting elitists and needs to be stopped. That's another one of these monumental conglomerates that is going to get destroyed in the future.
I don't want them to be destroyed. I just want
the education system has become so corrupt because just like a really big. Look at the Teamsters, right? The Teamsters just endorsed Trump. Not endorsed Trump. Didn't endorse Kamala. Didn't endorse the Democrats for the first time.
I was a Teamster at one point too, buddy.
But that's been a while since they haven't endorsed the Democrats, right?
Yes.
It's been a long time.
And they were at the convention. They came out.
Right. And if you look at their rank and file, and the UPS is the biggest Teamster membership.
I didn't know that the UPS.
Yeah, so I worked for UPS for 12 years, so all my drivers were Teamsters, and I still talk to all of them. A lot of them are, some of them are on MAGA fan page. Okay. Shout out to the drivers. So, what were we just talking about? Oh yeah, so the Teamsters didn't endorse Trump because I guess the politics were probably too much for them at a couple
years ago, but they sure
at some level. But eventually, but they didn't endorse him. They just didn't endorse the Democrats, right? So. All right, so I'm sorry about that. So, as I was saying about the, we can talk into the mics and be a little less aggressive. So,
I sound like I can be sexy.
You look sexy. You're a sexy dude. So, how long did that beard take to grow anyway?
My hair grows like you would spring Miracle Grow on me like crazy on my head. On my chin, this is more than 2 years.
It's pretty impressive.
And I actually think this was like the same length last year. I think that, brushing it out, it just got thicker, but it hasn't grown.
Wow, it's nice. It's like, it's impressive that it's brown at the ends. It's not gray yet. It's like the gray stops at some point. It's weird. It's impressive.
Because I'm a Clairol guy.
Look at me, dude. I'm gray as hell, dude. I'm old as fuck, man.
You think, hey, that commercial where you're like, I'm not gonna grow gray age, gracefully. I'm gonna fight it every step of the way.
Yeah, you are. You're doing a great job.
I'm white as could be, bro. Are you kidding me? This is an every 4 week type of thing. You know what I mean?
Well, don't tell nobody. Anyway,
it's a secret.
So we don't know what you're talking about. Anyway, as I was saying about the union, so the Teamsters union historically came out. The rank and file members are so. There's a big difference when we talk about the unions. We talk about the people. We talk about the elite at the tops of these like the decision makers of these groups, right? You're talking about the union elites, right? That are the problem. Like those are the ones that are in cahoots. They're the ones that get paid off to make decisions, and
they're the ones actually ultimately giving the endorsements.
Right. So they're the ones. So if you talk to the rank and file, teachers. I don't know. Teachers are a little shaky these days, but
my district, if anybody's watching, I love you.
I'm not saying. I'm saying around here, up north New Jersey. I don't know. So I see Kamala Harris signs in front of teachers' houses that say, "We're educators for Kamala Harris."
Well, let me ask you a question. If you've got a union that you put everything in,
gets me a little twingy.
If you listen to your union, they're the ones telling you that we're the ones keeping your job. We're the ones that have given you your health and medical benefits and so on and so forth. Okay, and you look down and you have a beautiful family. Maybe you're struggling at the gas pump and you're struggling at the grocery store, but you look down and you see you've got 2 beautiful children, and you've got a husband or wife, and you've got a nice house or something like this, and you look down and you go, how am I able to do this? Well, I did it because I'm a teacher and we're unionized. Well, God bless you. Good. I am not anti-union. I am very, 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 very pro-union. And I've been a part of multiple very powerful unions in my past. IAMAW, Teamsters. I just will not be a part
I
of this
showed
one.
you my union card today.
Yeah, exactly. I will not be a part of this one. And for the record, by the way,
Yes.
before because you did mention something like, are you going to get yourself fired? And I think maybe I may have to say something about this. Sandy, if this video gets to you, Sandy, I love you. I love you as a person. I love you. Right. I think that you have bully tactics about trying to be a part of that union. And listen, in your tenure as the president of that union, I really hope that you can change things around. I really do. I really hope that you can change it, that people want to be a part of it. But being a bully about it ain't going to work. It sure as hell ain't going to get me. So thank you for giving me that moment. I appreciate that.
No, I just don't want you to get in trouble because it's a very tenuous time and super sensitive people take stuff the wrong way.
They can take it any which way they want.
And we're all passionate. Obviously, we want to be on the station. We want to be doing this at this moment in time if we weren't passionate about our beliefs and the future of the country and the way it's going.
Well,
so,
Jamie, on the New Jersey MAGA page, what are one of the handful of things that I say to people at the end of almost everything that I say?
Fight.
Fight's one of them. It's also wake up, just don't be woke.
This is the time.
Just don't be woke. And the other thing is you have to speak your mind.
You have to.
You have to speak it. It's about the truth.
It's about, dude. Trump is the side of common sense. The left is gone, but has left normalcy. They're just completely bonkers now. They make no sense. They've literally left any sort of sanity. Right? They become.
Thank you. That was the perfect word. Sanity.
They've left sanity. So now the right is. If you're a normal, that word normal is, I know that triggers people, but it's a triggering term. But if you're just a person who has the values of family values, who believes in, working hard, coming home, support your family, friends, have a good time, love life, enjoy yourself, and just go and mind your business, then you have to be on the right side. I mean, there's too much nonsense on the left that makes no sense. That's obviously policy driven just to make us crazy and to make us fight. Mm-hmm. So if you took out the top 4 insane policies on the left side, I bet you that we would agree on 95% of everything else.
You're probably right. You're probably absolutely right. And you know what else is actually kind of interesting? There's so many of these extreme technical policies, like abortion, which I'm not going to get into the abortion argument right now, that on so many different levels of abortion, we agree on so much of what should happen, shouldn't happen. Well, then it gets blown out of proportion on both sides. Like you just think we can't do this, and women's right to this, and blah 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 blah. That's not what it's about. Have you ever listened to a Donald Trump rally where he tells you, I'm in support of a health crisis, an abortion for a health crisis, rape, things like this, and then you'll hear lefties just no, he just wants to control our bodies. Yeah, are you seriously fucking listening to what this man said?
The hypocrisy is just so insane that, that's the other problem, is that they take the most extreme case. They take the one person that may be raped by their uncle when they're 5 or something, and use that as the sample for every you're talking about the worst possible scenario, and they want to use that for every reason why we're voting, why Trump's an animal.
And for the record,
it's disgusting.
For the record, if there's a health issue or rape or something terrible, something awful, I mean, just it cringes my skin to think of some of the things that some of the women have gone through in this country or any other country where an abortion would be necessary, or even if it's not even an abortion, just some of the things that have gone on, what women have had to deal with. Okay, I'm on your side. I'm not talking against you. I'm not. But I will say this, and I will say this very strategically, right? I do not feel like abortion should be used as
well, think about it though, Michael.
It should not be used as
political motivation in any sort of way, right?
It should not be used as conception.
As a tool. It should. First of all, it should be out of. Why does the government have anything to do with it in the first place?
Your government shouldn't be in your bedroom in the first place.
The government should not be in your doctor's office in the first place, right? That should be between your family members and everything else. But that's a whole other discussion.
I hate the fact that I could not come up with the right term here.
I know what you're saying now. The government has no business being involved in abortions in the first place, right?
An abortion should not be used like a condom is.
Is that a better way to put it? They're using abortion as a. The problem is they use
as a way to separate.
They're exploiting women. to make it just about women's rights when it really, but it's back to the states, right? So the state, it's not even, that's the other problem, is it's not even a federal issue this time around. It would, so even if Kamala wins, it doesn't mean abortion's going to be, she's going to change the laws right away. It still has to go back to the Supreme Court, has to pass through Congress, has to pass through the House, has to pass the laws, and then has to go back to the Supreme Court to get voted again on. So even if Kamala wins, that shit ain't happening next week. It doesn't matter. It ain't going to happen tomorrow.
So you know what just happened? I literally 5 minutes ago said I don't want to get into the abortion, but that's how much of a trigger it is.
But I'm just saying,
That's
but
how
you're
much of a
right. And I don't want to talk
trigger
about
it
it
is,
anymore
you know?
either. Because to me, two men should not be talking about abortion probably in the first place. However, I think that the issue is being used as a weapon to divide us, and and in this case, especially this year, that even if it's not even on the federal ballot this year, so
It's true.
if Kamala wins, it means nothing for abortion, you guys. So who gives a shit? So yes. But regardless, Trump brought it back to the states. So depending on whatever state you live in, those are the laws that decide the abortion laws. If you don't like your state's laws, move. That's what America's all about. That's why we have 50 states, people. We're the United States of America. We're United States. The reason why we have states and we have so many different places is because they have different rules and people are different. We have different religions, different everything. That's what makes us America.
We're not all Los Angeles. We're not all Chicago. We're not all New York. For some of us that live in central New Jersey, Nebraska, northern Texas, Florida, so on and so forth, our values are different than yours. They're not wrong. Yours aren't wrong. They're different. Okay, this is why elections are supposed to be fair. Why we have things like the Electoral College. Where are your populations biggest? Your major cities. Your major cities are very liberal. Your thought processes in those cities are a lot different than they are in rural America. Have you ever looked at the Electoral College map?
Oh,
it's red everywhere.
The two-party system is the downfall of America in the first place. So we have 350 million people. How do we have two parties?
Well, I'll tell you what. You give me a third-party candidate that's worth it.
You can't, though. They don't want. The reason why they keep us divided, it's easy to divide people along two lines, right? It's hard to divide people along 3, 4, 5, 6 lines.
Of course it is.
So it's very hard to control the narrative along 6 lines, right? It's
marionette kind of thing.
It's very simple to control the narrative on both sides if you control both sides, and there's only 2 of them, right? When you add third, fourth, fifth, 6 wheels, then you have much more to control, much more information. This whole two-party system. I wish Trump was an independent, and he should, and he really is an independent. When you really, if you go past old school Democrat Republican values and policies, he's not a typical conservative back in the day. No, so he's more of a.
Well, he's you.
He's what
he converted.
I'm saying but that's what I'm saying. He's become what we all are now in America. What we all common sense American that understands American values and American pride and American history. That's what we are now. That's what MAGA is. MAGA is about that. It's not about anything else but making America great again. And that's why I've converted. And that's why I went from being a Biden voter to becoming a registered registered Republican, and now I've started the podcast. And as you can see, now I have Trump flags hanging outside my house. I have them inside my house, and my whole family hates my guts because I live in New Jersey and I live in liberal hell mostly, and I don't give a shit because the truth needs to come out, and people need to understand what the F is happening to all of us, and how we're being manipulated like a bunch of little puppets on a puppet show. Anyway,
which by the way, I want to thank you again for. I know what it's like. I've got a tremendous family. My family's huge.
Huge. You're gay.
I have my father was one of 12. I've got cousins to this day that I've never met. Cousins that have had kids, and so I've got more cousins. It's like you throw water on like gremlins and they just multiply, right? And I know what it's like. Due to political differences and so on and so forth. I know what it's like to be estranged from family members. I've got family members that I haven't spoken to in the 18 years since my father is gone, who, by the way, I was very lucky to find out did not vote for Joe Biden 4 years ago. But
I did.
The fact that you have family that is mad at you, yells at you, maybe curses at you, maybe just tells you what they think because it's a political opinion, and yet you stay steadfast. I'd just like to shake your hand because I know that's a difficult thing to deal with. Okay, it's a difficult thing to deal with because you keep your morals and you keep things steadfast because I know that's not easy to deal with. Okay, but you keep your mind frame the right way because what we're doing here right now is that important to you. And God bless you for it, my friend.
Thank you, brother. And it's well, I'm not that I appreciate that, and it's my family members are not my mom is my mom. She's still liberal. She has TDS. She hates Donald Trump. Because she was fed the lies that everybody else was fed about him. Just like for the same reason why I voted for Biden, she hates him. But I try to tell her it's all BS, but she still doesn't believe me because she has my son who's on the other side who's telling her that he watches Joy Reid and CNN and all the poison that they put out there every day. The division, the hate for the other side. How they talk about how Trump and MAGA we're all evil and we're all extremists and we're all racist, homophobic.
Because we're such terrible
transgender,
people, right?
transphobes and whatever phobe. We're all kinds of phobic something.
Yeah.
Bunch of phobes.
As soon as you disagree, you're afraid of it.
I mean,
no,
obviously,
no,
it's all BS. So I mean, that's the problem is that they're dividing us along two lines. They've been doing it for a long time.
Sure.
We're in the middle of a cold civil war. If you watch my videos from last week, I talked about that.
Yes.
And we have to. The only way
the Lord willing, it stays cold.
That's it, brother. Yeah, right. And the only way to keep it cold, is by communicating and hopefully, bringing people over.
Conversation and your words. Remember, I told you your words are your real weapons, and that's how we need to fight this. This is how we need to fight this.
And
it's your words.
With that, I think we're gonna sign off because we're about an hour and 6 minutes. So it was a long podcast. I want to thank my guest, Reverend Ferris, for joining me today.
Hey, Jamie, thank you for having me. And signing off on my level to my as a moderator on that. And I'm so proud of that, by the way. So proud of that. So proud of it. I'm sorry. I really am. I love your New Jersey MAGA page that you made the administrator of. I wake up every morning trying to find a way to say something to these people. Guys, what I say every day that I love you, patriots. Thank you for everything you do. Please continue to contribute. Your voice is your weapon. We are not animals, people. Okay? Our voice is our weapon. The truth needs to come out. Wake up. Don't be woke.
Amen, brother.
Thank you. Love you, man.
Love you, brother. Thank you, guys. Oh, like, subscribe. I was going to say in the beginning, an hour and a half in. Like, subscribe. Thank you.